I don't want to go on about statutory legislation and acts of parliament, but I think a lot of folks are getting a misunderstanding about, because they're going into court and starting to ask, like we were asking, for names.
Yeah.
You know, we want the names of the court officials, but they don't have to give them, do they? And I think that Judge Goodman did everybody a favour there, because he stated quite categorically that they're not civil servants, they're not public servants, and that logically can only come to one logical conclusion from that, and that is that they are corporate officers.
Yeah, working in a private capacity.
So if they're working in a private capacity, they're fully commercially liable, because they're in private.
Yeah.
And it also, like when you said, you go back, if you look at like the court services, they are a service provider, then you can see then that it is corporate and that it can only be contractual.
All they're offering is an independent mediation service, impartial mediation service.
Yeah.
But when you ask them for who they are for that, they don't want to get that information.
No.
They're referring to you as defendant. Well, how can you be defendant if it's impartial?
Yeah.
You can't be.
Straight away they're trying to give you a title.
Straight away, you've got to be accused of something to be a defendant.
Yes, and the other thing I noticed, like when I went to my TV licensing last week, is, you know, I told her she would come fully commercially liable, didn't I?
Yeah.
And you noticed twice, she said to the
legal advisor.
The legal advisor said to the magistrates, yes, you can put a plea in for it.
Yes.
What they're doing is they're telling them, is basically passing liability.
Yeah.
She knows she's liable for what she does in the private, but they're there to rubber stamp, and it's a tribunal. It's got to have been a tribunal. You're not going to a court.
No.
There's no. That's a mistake I made there again. Was thinking that there was Crown prosecution there when it wasn't.
But it's not a mistake. It can only be a mistake if they've already told you it's Crown Prosecution Service, or they've told you it's from capita. But you have to identify yourself. But the other party, the prosecutor, doesn't have to identify who he is.
And that wasn't
what
a prosecutor,
capacity is into.
That wasn't a prosecutor. So you're going into a tribunal where all they're doing is rubber stamping liabilities.
Yeah. So
she's there then, is the legal advisor, is passing liability to the three magistrates.
Yeah.
Because what she's saying, yes, you can. I says, no, there's no consent. Are you sure you can do that? I said to her.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do that. And she's not lying. She's
I think the exact words were, she's pulling your pants down.
That's what I said to him, yeah.
That's what your exact words were. She's pulling your pants down. And they do. But that's what they're there for. They're a buffer. For if anything does go wrong, they're an insurance. The magistrates are an insurance policy.
Yeah, but they have liability, but it's only limited liability.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one's got full liability.
Yeah.
That's what and what she's doing there is staying anonymous, not letting nobody know what she's doing, because she's in charge. Yeah. Whoever it is, whether it's a man or a woman, is in charge. That legal advisor is actually in charge of that tribunal. Yeah. Because the magistrates are only there to give weight to a liability order, because all they're doing is producing an actual money order for trade. So you've got, it's like that bloke you was saying, he watched him £9,000 worth of liability orders bundled together in 1 hour, sold on. So this is something we're going to
you've got 90 people all paying for the same time. Well, you can't charge more than once for the same thing. It's fraud. That's what they're doing, is by charging 90 people all for the same service at the same time.
Whether they wanted to
it's fraud. How the hell can you say that a court for an hour comes to £9,000?
A lot of money.
They're not getting you a true bill. They're not telling you what it's for, how much you're paying.
That £9,000 that was only part of it, because if they monetise in the liability orders, then they're double dipping. So it's not £9,500.
No, it's 18. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's the old, from the second that you walk in, that's what it is. The work in dishonour from the very second you work in, to not identify yourself.
Yeah. You see, even the capita man didn't want to know, and he didn't want to speak to me at all.
No. Couldn't engage him in conversation.
Yeah, and I said to him, look, we could come to a remedy here. Why? If you speak to me, so I can be in contact with you outside of here. We can, you know, I'm offering remedy. No, because all he wants that money.
Yeah.
That's all it's about.
Of course it is.
And same as I was saying to Dan, statutory legislation and acts of parliament aren't applicable to you. And there, when Judge Goodman said that, and the other thing that you said to him was, when you says about his oath of office and knew it was 2,
Yes.
that's when he did the runner.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to answer that
No,
one. Not
that's
the Crown
it.
Corporation of the City of London. He didn't want to answer that.
No.
He was quite happy to say,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll give an oath to the Queen,
Yeah.
but he wasn't happy to qualify it.
No.
Because he knows. And this is another fallacy that's going around now as well, is people think that, they say, well, a lot of them don't know what's going on. The magistrates don't, because they're lay people.
No.
But now, it's like when you went into court, it says, are you, what was it, are you a free man on the land? Are you into all this kind
yeah,
of
they're trying to put you in a box to
know
try and...
exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
So they've done due diligence. So now when people go in and they think, well, they don't know, or some of them don't know what's going on, I think that's a load of bollocks.
I do.
Yeah.
They know exactly what's going on. The judges and the League of
Oh,
Advisors know what's happening.
Yeah.
That's...
So this now, any thought about them not knowing what they're doing?
They know exactly
They've done
what
due
they're doing.
diligence because they would have had to have looked into it.
Yeah.
Because people are coming up with lawful excuse
Yeah.
not to sit under statute.
No.
So they must have done due diligence.
They must have. And they've got a duty to investigate.
Of course they have, yeah.
They've got a duty to investigate. But say when we talk about what they should do or what they don't, it's the agenda, and you've got to look at what the intent is, and the intent is to be able to get money out of you for any reason that they can find.
Yeah.
That's why they don't want to answer any questions. They don't want to. Again, with Judge Goodman, he didn't want to give you information only because I spoke up and informed him that I want to put in a complaint. That
You
I
also
wanted
told
his
him,
name.
I think that helped as well. I'm a friend of the court, and you are a public servant.
Yeah.
Tell him straight off, you're a
Yeah.
public servant. I'm a member of the public.
Yeah.
I want to put a complaint in against you. You've got a duty and obligation to answer any questions I put to you as a public servant.
Yeah.
Which they have.
Yeah.
But he was acting as a corporate officer. He didn't want you to know that.
So he identified himself, but when asked for name and magistrates, his exact words were, "You do not need their information because they aren't public servants."
Yeah.
I then asked him, well, if they're not working in a public capacity, surely then they have to be working in a private capacity. Can you show me a contract?
Yeah.
And that's when he decided he didn't want to ask any more questions. And that's when he told me that he would get security.
Yeah. I think next time when they say we get security, we say we get the police. And that's
Well,
it.
that is what I actually said.
Yeah.
That I did actually informed him that it was police constables outside.
Oh yeah.
One of
Well,
which was
police-
sergeant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been more than happy
Yeah.
to speak to one of them. But yeah, I didn't consent with Group 4 security, especially after last time.
So you remember the first time when the magistrates did a runner when I went in on the
Yeah.
traffic thing?
Yeah.
And the after the magistrates had done a runner, the legal advisor says, "Oh, it'll be a duly constituted court." Well, what I realise is they're not lying to you. It is a duly constituted court, but it's a de facto court, which they don't tell you the whole truth.
No.
They don't tell you what's constituted under statutory legislation. It's not a de jure court.
No.
We
Well,
know it's not.
It's only a court in name, isn't
It's
it?
a
It's
court
just
in name.
a court in name. Lord Fountain of Thornton at the Justice Department says they're not true courts. Well, if he's saying they're not true courts, it's really interesting when you go onto the website and just look up courts. They don't even make a pretense on the website to be a court. They state that we're just an impartial mediation service.
So for an impartial mediation service, they have to have, you've got to have two parties agreeing to go to that mediation.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Otherwise, it'd be an order.
Yeah, not a summons.
No, and all they are doing is that's it. It's just a request. Nothing more than a request to, would you like to use our services?
And when you tell them no, they ignore you.
They ignore you.
Which means that you have a civil claim against them.
Yeah.
So this is where we're coming from now, is civil claims against them. We've got to. Well, we've got to operate in the. Well, we've got the two. We know we've got the two jurisdictions operating. We've got the common law jurisdiction above statutory legislation.
Yeah.
And now the claims have to go in common law, because there's no timing. That's why you can go back as well. So anything that you've got, they must be panicking. I'll tell you one of the reasons they're panicking as well, and they'll be worried about it, like if what happens here is same as what's happening in Canada. in other places. You know, if it really starts to get big here, is you've got the seat of the financial industry here. You've got corporate governance now, which is fascism.
Yeah.
We have got a corporate government. So if it falls here, it falls everywhere.
Yeah, because every system's based on our system.
Every system's based on it, and every system's based from the Law Society, from Temple Bar.
Yeah.
So you've got all the private bar associations around the world, all basically run from out of there. So you've got all them parasites that are in the legal la la land.
Yeah.
Basically wanting to keep control, and they have got global control at the moment. So they've got global control for the banks, and it's for the Crown Corporation of the City of London.
Everything.
If that goes, everything goes.
Yeah, everything is run for the banks and on behalf of the banks. You've only got to look at what's it called, the Neuromancer, because voted in by financial district, square mile of City of London, by the corporations. These are people like Bank of Russia, Bank of China, Goldman and Sachs. The bigger the company, the more votes. HSBC, they vote him in, and he goes into Parliament. He can sit on any committee he wants to sit on. He can demand to see the Queen or the Prime Minister within 14 days, and they have to speak to him.
What's it called again?
The Neuromancer. I believe it's something like Neuromancer is his official title.
Gone out my head again. Yeah, because they mentioned him on UK column, didn't
they? I'm pretty sure it's something like Neuromancer, and that's what it is. His sole job is to represent
the
corporations, the financial districts of the City of London, the square mile. Absolutely crazy. And again, the Spaniard, White Rabbit, he said something interesting to me. Eventually, everything's got to be owned by the banks the way we're going, because if you start off and you borrow £100 million, the first £100 million created, then once it's eventually siphoned its way back to the government, they've took it back again, then even if it's only charging 1% interest, then it becomes 101 million. So where does that other 1 million that doesn't exist come from? It's got to be from assets, repossessions. And then it just keeps expanding. You
may be doing well, but you're only doing well in this system because somebody else is losing everything.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's not because they've gone into business and they were crap at it.
No.
It's because they've lost their job and can't pay the frigging mortgage.
You can't pay the mortgage. There's so many committees and things that's coming out now, and regulations for this, regulations for that. It's absolutely, everything needs a permit. Everything needs a license. This is what's pushing companies down, closing down, because the government, the institutions, the banks, they're financially better off from people failing than succeeding.
Of course they are. For a start, they insure the debt.
Yeah.
So if they insure the debt privately, so they get paid for the insurance, so why are you having to pay it?
You're not. Bearing in mind, the money you're borrowing didn't exist anyway. They've just set you, basically set you set up your own credit agreement.
Yeah.
So you don't own it anyway.
You are the creditor and the debtor.
Yeah. So they're running no risk whatsoever at all anyway, apart from they sell your debt on and then take it back off you again anyway. But financially, through the insurance, they're better off things going to the wall for you.
Yeah.
Because then they get more and more repossessions, and it just grows and grows and grows.
Well, you can see them doing it in Cyprus now.
Yeah.
They're actually taking everything.
Yeah.
And we're getting it here.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things people don't realise.
Yeah.
Is what's happening. This is a test.
Of course it is. That's why it's a small country.
It failed in Iceland.
Yeah.
That was the first test.
Yeah.
But they woke up.
Yeah.
And now they're trying it again in Cyprus. Well, the Greeks are in a bad way. I don't know that.
Yeah. But you don't see much of it on news.
No.
Don't see much of it on news. Which obviously not paying your TV licence, you won't be watching it anyway. But word of mouth, hearsay.
I don't watch BBC News.
No,
that's for sure.
No, it's
If I want propaganda, I'll watch it. But
that's I watch the BBC. They've sent it me for now, so I use it. I've not asked them to send
and that's
it.
something else, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, if you don't want to watch the BBC, why don't they encrypt it? And it's trespass
that's the thing.
Because if you had a choice, You choose. Most people won't have it.
Why?
So then you have to rely on servitude and be forced into it.
Yeah.
Fascism again.
There must. We know it's propaganda.
Yeah.
It is a propaganda machine.
But to be fair, if I were you and I were paying them tens of millions of pounds a year, I'd be wanting propaganda. They're not paying it for no.
They're certainly not going to show the European Union in a bad light.
No, of course they can't. They can't. Otherwise, they're going to lose a big chunk of their funding.
I think one of our biggest problems here is not enough people know the truth. It's ignorance. Ignorance is our greatest enemy.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point, is spreading the word.
Of course it is. Again, knowledge is power. The more people that learn, and it's just with simple things, just to get people thinking about things.
Yeah. That's what I try to do, ask simple questions.
Yeah.
Ask simple questions like, how can a criminal make law for you?
Yeah.
You know,
And that's it,
start
yeah.
to think a little bit.
Yeah.
Which we can't.
Yeah.
And
You know, just start to
Yeah.
open your mind up. Remember who you are. Go
I know
back
I
to the
also
source of everything.
I also ask a lot of people that explaining how money is not real and how it's created and how the Bank of England, why we're paying interest on money we're borrowing from ourselves,
Yeah.
in effect. And once you explain to people, well, hang on, money's created just through a keeper. The government work on behalf of the people. Everything's in trust. They look after it now. You've got the Bank of England and you've got the Treasury. Now, if they're all working for the people and all held in trust for the people and the benefit of the people, then why are they charging interest on it?
Yeah.
Why? If we owe $7
Why
trillion,
is the beneficiary having to pay? Because
Yeah.
the beneficiary should receive
we're
the
supposed to
benefit,
benefit.
not the liability.
No, so we've become the trustees.
And done a switcheroo.
Yeah, they've totally flipped it round and changed it. Jimmy, what's stopping the Bank of England, the Treasury, saying to the Bank of England, right, we're 70 trillion in debt, or whatever figure it is.
Create that, that's it.
Create that, we're going to do it. A £70 trillion note, we're going to get you, that's it, that's that debt wiped off.
Yeah.
From now on, we're going to print his own money,
Yeah.
ourselves.
As in the Bradbury pound.
The Bradbury pound, exactly, the Bradbury pound. And I've not had one person who can explain to me the reason why that's not feasible.
Because it is.
Yeah.
It is, because
Yeah.
we've done it before. I mean, Abraham Lincoln did it, hence the bullet in the head. Kennedy were going to do it, hence the bullet in the head.
Oh, yeah, Kennedy was going to do it. Shot him. Over there, fed, wasn't he?
And the crazy
Yeah.
part is, apart from possibly Iceland, every country in the world is in debt.
Did you watch that Bank
Yeah.
on Dave?
Yeah.
Bank of
I've
Dave?
watched,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he had to go through.
Oh, of course
set up
it
a
is.
bank, and
Every-
they won't even let him call it a bank.
No.
No. No.
Any way that they can block him. Thing.
Anybody wants to do anything for the
Is it
benefit of the
FSA
public,
that
can't do it.
control all banks?
Yeah.
You know, it's FSA, and you know.
And the
when
FSA
they
is
get
funded
one-
by the banks.
It's funded by the banks. Do you know what I mean? Bloody hell, it's
So for, you go to the financial services,
Yeah.
well, the ombudsman,
Yeah.
whoever it is, they're controlled by the banks
and
anyway.
controlled by the banks. It's crazy. It's,
And Mel run about that because he was going to be a banker, weren't he?
It's a bit like Independent Police
Couldn't
Complaints
believe it,
Commission.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They come under authority of the
Yeah.
Secretary. Well, who do police come under authority of? Home Secretary. So you've got a company that
But they're
complaining against.
independent. Oh, no, they're
They're
independent.
independent. Yeah, of course they are.
What a
They just got
I tell you,
same boss.
We are the most, outside of North Korea, probably, we are the most controlled people, but it's so subtle.
Yeah.
It really is a fantastic system.
We're controlled financially massively. There's not a country in the world. I think it's 74%. I read of what money that we earn goes in taxes.
Yeah. Well, feudal serfs didn't. They didn't have to pay that much.
No,
They worked 3 months a year. For
74%.
monarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That rustic year, they worked for this hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they worked for themselves. They were also had an entitlement to something like 5 acres originally.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
5 acres of land to feed your family.
Yeah.
And we was a very, very prosperous country. It was only to the when the land clearances come in, when they started moving people into, well, they wanted them off the land, they wanted to put the sheep on there and everything. You know, and they started moving folks off. And that's another thing with White Rabbit. And with the 1888, this is another thing that proves it's a trust and it's a corporation and it's corporate. If you look at the 1888 Act of the County Councils Act,
Yeah.
where it basically says it's set up as a trust. Before that were parishes,
Yeah.
parish councils. So we didn't have county councils as such.
No.
But in 1888, no bugger had the vote. So nobody were registered to vote. How many people were registering the children? So you'd got a public that didn't come under statutory legislation. So they've got to have, you can't alter it because it's still the same, you've got to have it set up as a trust for the benefit of the public, but the public don't pay. Therefore, as it says in the Act itself, you're not liable for the debts.
No.
With the trust, you're not liable for the council's debts.
Is it section 79, subsection 2? On the White Rabbit, when you're on about the all duties and liabilities of the council, become the liabilities and duties
the councillors.
Yeah, of the councillors.
That's in the 1988 council.
1888 council.
1888
that was set up before people. There's no taxation without representation.
No.
This is why you got the vote. This is why they had to give the common man the vote. Because most people in 1888 didn't vote. So you can't really turn around and say, well, you've got to pay all this money, we're going to set this new thing up to, because they'd just turn around and tell you the bollocks.
Yeah.
They knew who they were in the day, it's God's my boss, not you. Yeah. That's where they would come from. That's where they would have come from. So you're not looking, they couldn't really force it onto them, the debt onto them. So, we've got county council, you're going to have to pay. Why? What am I paying for that for?
Yeah, what they doing?
It's a trust.
Yes.
And of course you've got more honest, I say more honest, not legal people, but there was the common law was in full force at the time.
It was at the time. It were 100,000 statutory acts that had been brought in. All of which is there for only one reason, that's to try and take some money out of your pocket. Try taking some more out of your pocket. Well, that's it. As long as people's got enough just to get by on and to survive on, that's what it is. But almost 3/4 of what you earn took off you in tax.
For what?
For what? It's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely mind-blowing that for every pound that you earn, you're only actually getting 25% of it yourself.
It's crazy. It's crazy that people haven't woke up to it. But at the end of the day, if you've got to go back to the source. If you're created or born, you've got a birthright, and that birthright is self-determination. And that's the wellspring of all your rights.
Yeah.
If you don't have that self-determination, then you haven't got anything. So it's you have a right to your own labour. Nobody else has a claim on your labour. No. So there cannot be an income tax that's on your labour, because what you get for your labour is for your family and for you. Yeah. The only person that can decide who benefits from that labour is you.
Yeah.
So how can they have a claim on it? They can't possibly have a claim on it. So why when she said to me in court, I says, well, I've not had sight of any claim against me. She says, there in front of you, it's a frigging summons. It's not a claim against me.
Of course it's not.
There's no claim because there's not been an injured party. There's no damages. There's just no contract.
And that's why it's got to be in statutes. There needs to be a corpus delicti. There's got to be a victim. Who is the victim? Who's the injured party? There isn't one. As you say, it's crazy when you think they're saying that you're not paying a corporation you're not contracted with, and it's now being decided by another corporation that you're not contracted with.
Yeah.
Also,
that you ought to pay. You ought to contract with them.
Your argument is, well, I'm not contracted to this company, and it's been heard by another company that you're not contracted to, that you don't want to use their services either.
So they're offering me a service I don't want. I don't want to do business with these people, and now you're telling me you've got to, and you're a third-party intervener anyway. What the hell's it got to do with you?
So if there were enough bodies in that court that we could say, well, hang on a second, we've got enough people now to set up a grand jury.
Yeah.
Don't you worry your pretty little head, you sit there, we'll sort it out amongst ourselves. Yeah, don't.
I was thinking of doing that.
It's a bit, it'd be interesting.
I was actually thinking.
Oh, you watch Group 4 Security come running in.
It's in Court 4 again. So that means we're going into the little one with the magistrates that are just there. Yeah. And it's not. So this will be interesting on 6th of June. It'll be interesting.
We're out to that.
It'll be a laugh. was going to be really. I'm really looking forward to it. Actually,
honestly, the more bodies that they work, it would be the better, because that's it. When you break everything down and you step back and you look at it for what it really actually
logically,
is.
you just got to.
You have to look
to
at
a
things,
logical conclusion of what it is.
logically.
Take the evidence, take the facts.
What proof of claim have they got? What foundation evidence have they got to support any argument that they've got over TV licences?
No.
Is there a contract?
No.
There's not a contract. Well, hang on. We're not, we're not standing. If you're not doing this under common law, then there's no injured party. So we're doing it like that. But if you're doing it not under common law, but you're doing it under statutory law or statutory acts, the statutory legislation, then show me where's cited a contract. Provide a contract saying that it's like.
Or if you're claiming an adhesion contract, I want it in writing when that adhesion contract was formed.
Yeah. And whoever's right at stating that, especially
And
doing
I'll
it
have a claim
under.
against you.
Yeah.
If you want to say that there's an adhesion contract, go on then, and I'm having a claim against you.
Under penalty of perjury and under full liability.
Start to get some claims in.
Yeah. I think that is the way. I think that's the way to crack the nut. Is by finding out who these people actually are. Because how can you provide a mediation service when you're not identifying yourself? Right from the very start, you're working in dishonour. You're not identifying yourself. You're not stating.
You're trying to make decisions that affect my life, but you want to remain anonymous.
I'm going to throw you out of court if you don't identify yourself, but I'm not going to identify who I am.
No.
Why do they not want to identify themselves? It's a.
That's another thing. If you notice on the forms they give you, fill all this lot, and they want your national insurance number as well.
Yeah. And as you say, that was the thing that we was on about with Usher before we went in. Here's a form. Fill this form out. How much you're earning? Well, hang on. I've not even gone in there, and you're working out how much you can afford to fine me before I've even gone in.
So I'm already guilty.
Yeah. So that's it. So it's not a question of am I guilty or not guilty. It's a question of how much can you get out. Because when you see them and they're found guilty, we've been in court before. As soon as they're found on guilty, it's can you pay today? You even get the usher to march you there. Apart from having a second usher that can put his hands in your pockets. I'm surprised they don't just get Group 4 security to come and tip you down, and then they can work out what it is.
Pull you upside down and shake you.
Just find out what you've got. Just find out what you've got and what they can take you for.
And that's another thing that proves it's a corporate thing. It's like when we requested a court file, or says well, we demand a court file. What's the court file? Put a request in writing and we'll consider it. Well, if they've got to consider what is supposed to be a document that's in the public, and whether you can see it or not, or go in and view it, then they're telling you, we don't have to do it because it's private. But the thing is that document's in your name. Like a liability order is in your name. So like Dean Clifford says, what's in that liability order, it's in your name. All the equity within it's yours.
But people accept it.
So if they securitize it and get paid from the bank, then that rightfully is your money.
It's totally your money.
And because that's another thing the magistrates don't realise. You've got a legal advisor telling them to, oh yeah, so they'll write down and they'll rubber stamp a liability, so that's their name on that. What they don't realise is that whoever creates a liability should actually provide a remedy for that liability. And that remedy ain't me, even if my name's on it. It's actually the person who created it. Because that's a maximum law. He who creates a liability must also bring the remedy. And if that's money, so what they're trying to do is create a liability. There's a liability to pay there. So instead of them paying it in and you getting the benefit, the equity within it, they're getting you to pay it in. They're getting the equity.
That's it. When you talk about contracts and with law, you're entitled to full disclosure, but you're not going it.
No.
What's the one? 'Cause I always forget what word it is. Is it equal consideration?
Yeah, it should be equal consideration.
Equal consideration. Well, hang on.
Unless it's an adhesion contract and then it's weighted to one.
I'll pay 200 quid for a plasma telly. I'll put it in. I'll pay for Sky. I'll pay the electric on it, and I'll pay everything else. You'll provide me channels that I'm not interested in watching.
Yeah.
and then I'll pay for privilege whether I want to watch it or not. Yeah.
And that's something else I've always noticed as well. The amount of people up there where you'd have capita go into their homes and lie and make false statements. And they, poor buggers, are trying to go in and defend themselves. At the end of the day, everything's weighted against them. There's absolutely no way that they're going to turn around and say that they're...
But that guy from Capita who's coming in, even when they turn around and say, well no, I've not got a live feed telly, all I've got is an old telly I play an Xbox game on.
Yeah.
Now if he's come in and he's had a look and he's seen that is correct, he's not got a live feed, now he's on incremental pay. So he's getting money if he writes him out a ticket, oh here's a summons, or you're going to have to go to court. I'm sure I read somewhere that with Capita they are on incremental pay
to put a free
incentive.
Into them.
Might not a freedom of information act, that are things, the incentive.
So if he's got to play with him in court, actually, when I go in and have a play with him and ask him.
Yeah.
And just play with him a bit.
Yeah.
This should be good fun, this.
Yeah. The only thing Just can do is be a cunt about it. Act unlawfully.
Oh, what unlawfully?
He can only act outside of his oath.
Who?
The judge.
I don't know whether it's going to be a judge this time or not. I'm going to find out actually, because I'm going to write to the court and ask them.
I think they'll be getting a judge.
I've not seen court 4, so I doubt. I might be magistrates again. It might be a district judge sat there. I might have a play with them. There's no way they're chucking me out again. No way on this earth they're going to chuck me out there. I'm going to have a good play. I'm not having that again.
No.
Stand me ground, I don't mind that because it's after certain things happen, so I'm not bothered if they took me in jail.
What time are you in?
I can't remember actually. I'll let you know anyway, all the details of what time it is, but it's 6, it's D-Day. Say that to a D-Day. Oh, D-Day, back in.
We'll have to get more bodies again like we did.
There's going to be more bodies in there.
Yeah. It'd be brilliant if we didn't have enough and said, right, we're going to conduct a grand... We're going to decide this by a grand jury.
Yeah.
We've already took common law jurisdiction.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, edit that bit out.
Edit that bit out.
Take element of surprise.
Any bit that's
mention about grand juries.
Edit it out for us. It's been mentioned twice, so because that was my intention.
Yeah. All right. So.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about that very seriously. Why bother with all that? Inform us on court, I mean.
I'm going to do that over this weekend, get all your videos loaded on your channel. I'm going to make a video, put it on my channel, telling them about your channel.
Alright, can you put, I don't know even how to get on my channel. No.
Yeah, well, I'll set you a password up.
I'm about as good with, because I've been trying to do one on my own, because Andy's been on to me. Because I keep saying we're going to do a video and we're going to start explaining things a bit and going through and just generally talking, and I've tried doing one on the other and it was rubbish, it looked terrible. So I thought, no, that's why I got you down tonight, so it looks a bit more professional, it's a bit better. Yeah, we've got to, we're going to sing a stage on the Thursdays, is to go in the room here and have a news night. And advertise it as a news night.
Yeah.
And say me and you go up, sit at the front,
Yeah.
with the cameras on us, and anybody who wants to come in and we'll give real news.
Yeah.
Of what's going on.
I'm up for that.
Like very similar to how the UK can do it, but not as professional.
No. But they'll be drinking a lot less, to be fair. Anybody can say it's sober.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. And then bring stuff into it and say this is what. And
Okay. That's it, you're dealing with court and contracts mean absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? They're not even interested. In fact, with my shop, I've been getting letters for 2 years from somebody called J.E.Y. and Sons from British Gas. Had a word with my landlords, they've had property since 1999, they've never heard of J.E.Y. and Sons. I've asked local businesses, has anyone ever heard of J.Y. and Sons? Nobody's heard of J.Y. and Sons. I've googled it. I made it my mission for a month to try and find who the old J.Y. and Sons were. Can't find any sign. So all these letters have been coming for J.Y. and Sons. I've rang British Gas first couple of times, I rang them just to explain the situation. Don't know who J.Y. and Sons are, can you stop sending me letters? Sent them off a letter withdrawing the implied right to access. Rung them up third time, really went for it, or a really nasty wheel, quoting their harassment and everything else. Anyway, I had a guy come to my shop from British Gas, come in my shop, hiya, can you tell me who you are? Well, also, if they come in my shop with a kind of clipboard, they're not buying. So it's like, well, can you? I always keep near my door, removal of implied right to access, a fee schedule, and basically a questionnaire from identification for the self that can't fill. Well, after looking at that and scratching his head for 5 minutes, he says, can you tell me when J.E.Y. and Sons were last year? I says, no. He says, well, it's not really important anyway, but the electric you're having is British Gas. I says, well, I think electric I'm using comes from National Grid. I said, I think you're just, it's not a service provider, what are they?
A bill, oh God,
yeah, I'm saying it's gone up yet. But I says, well, all you do
billing agent.
A billing agent. I says, you're just billing agent. He says, no, we actually manufacture the gas. I said, well, I have to check that up, so I don't think you do. I says, but even if you did, I wouldn't do anything with British Gas. For one, I don't have gas, it's only electric. I says, I might be British and I might want electric, and even if I wanted gas, I still won't use British Gas. And he says, well, it's irrelevant whether you want to, the fact is you've been using it. So I says, well, hang on, I'm not contracted to British Gas, so whether we're using it is an irrelevance. You best chase up J.E.Y. and Sons and try and sort it out with them, because I'm not contracted to you and I've got no intention to contract with you. Listen, you owe us £920 pound. I says, how can I owe you £900 pound? I says, well, what am I paying my service provider for, my billing agent for? Oh right, you've got a billing agent, who is it you're actually using? I says, well, it's not, that's none of your business. Dave says, I don't have to tell you who I'm using. So he says, well, you need to tell us, otherwise we're going to come and we're going to cut you off. I says, first the door, you've got no chance getting through that door. Trust me, you've not got any chance of even making it through that door. But the chances of you getting anywhere near that meter are even slimmer. I says, so really, you're going to waste. The second you put your foot through that door, I'm going to arrest you on the Section 24A of PACE for demanding money with menaces and racketeering. He says, racketeering? You can't do me for racketeering. I says, I'll arrest you for harassment. Well, I'll bring a policeman with me. I says, well, if he don't show me his warrant card, I says, I'll arrest him for impersonating a police officer, so I'll arrest pair on you. I'd like to see you do it. I says, well, you best come back again then. You best come back and I'll do it. I will do it. So he says, well, end of the day, we're entitled, you've been using our electric. I says, it's not your electric. And for one, I'm not. I'm entitled to full disclosure until you've just said that this electric supplied to British Gas. I didn't know it supplied to British Gas. And he says, well, if we come and we cut you off, you'll have to pay £1,700 or something mental to be connected back on again. I said, well, I'll get my electric with somebody else. He says, oh, you'll find that very smug look on his face, you'll find that really difficult. He says, because if you're cut off by us, I don't think there's any other companies that's going to touch you. I said, so you're running a cartel then? That's what you're telling me, falling on the record now, that you run a cartel with Scottish Power and everything else, and you know, you want basic organisation, you run it. Well, I won't say that exactly. I says, don't you worry about me getting fixed back on again. He says, well, there was £700 customer service. I said, well, hang on, I'm not contracted yet, so I'm not one of your customers, am I? So any customer fees that you've got won't apply to me. He says, well, if we cut you off, how will that affect your business? I says, my grow shop, I've got about 600 watt lights in back of here. Don't you worry about it. I'll manage. So anyway, sent him out shop with that. I rang up British Gas straight after he'd gone, explained to them J.Y. Now, to cut it to a nutshell, it doesn't matter whether I'm contracted to them or not. They're still taking me to magistrates court where they're going to get a warrant of entry. Now, I said, this warrant of entry, it's probably going to be Northampton again. It's not going to be magistrates court, it's going to be...
It might be the one like I had though.
It might be, but you're entitled a wet signature on it.
No, I didn't know.
Which, no. Did you ever see Tony's warrant? It says on it, apart from the not customer copy. It says customer copy. Well, hang on. If he's paying his TV licence, then he's a customer. But if he's not paying his TV licence, how can he be a customer? Either A, he's not a customer because he's not paid his licence, so that warrant's not contracted. Yeah. Or 2, he is a customer then, and which means he's paid it. This morning, after telling them that and all that's it, they're going to be going to court anyway, and it doesn't matter if I'm contracted to them, you know, I'm contracted to them whether I've signed anything or not signed anything, and it will all done, blah, blah. Got a letter this morning, J.Y. and Sons, winning off the pill. After all that and everything else, they're still writing to J.Y. and Sons. So are they going to go, obviously they're going to go to a bulking centre. Obviously the warrant's not going to have a wet signature, it'll not have the name on.
Well, it'll be, the warrant, the actual warrant will be for J.Y. and Sons. So if they come in, if they force their way in, it'll be J.Y. and Sons, and you're not them.
Yeah. Well, he's telling me you will go to court, you will do this, you will. I'm saying, you keep saying you. Who am I? Who am I? Well, I don't know, do I? So when the hell are you going to get a bloody warrant for me then, if you don't know who I am? You know, that's just ridiculous. Well, we'll find out who you are.
Who are you?
Yeah. Well, you can find out, so even if you know who I am, you've still got to have to prove. You're still going to have to put show me a contract. I said to him, I conditionally agree to pay it. I'll get you cash now on production of a contract with my signature saying, give me full disclosure.
That I'm J.Y. and Sons.
That I'm J.Y. and Sons. Who are the bloody hell J.Y. and Sons? Can you tell me when? I said, I spoke to my landlords. They've had properties in 1999. They've never heard of J.Y. and Sons. You've got Robinson's Furniture Arcade straight over me. They must have been there 30 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Never even heard of J.Y. and Sons. Can't even find a bloody Google in it. Do you know, it's mad. And they're still insisting, oh, we'll take you to court. They're not trying to say, right, well, we do understand there's not a contract to. Yeah, we do. Fine, come and get another service provider.
You've already told them you've got a service provider, so it don't matter.
No.
So, well, who is it then?
Yeah.
You don't have to know
It's none of your business.
But damn business.
That's what I actually said. Who's your lecturer? That what? NYB Energy. Not heard of them. Who's NYB? I said, none of your business. It's none of your business who my energy supplier is. It's crazy. But my main point was, when I rang and I went through to their complaint procedure at British Gas, and they're doing this professionally for a living, the fact that there was no contract was just a total irrelevance to them. Well, even if we're not contracted, that don't matter. You've still got to pay this. Can you give me a customer reference number? Well, not really, because I'm not a customer. And it's not, you know, everything's your reference. Well, it's not my reference, it's your reference number.
Yeah, because they need that tax.
Yeah.
Of course, everything's in the person, isn't it?
Yeah.
The legal person.
Of course it is.
You need that.
And they've joined it, don't they?
Yeah.
And they haven't.
Interesting that to see how that plays out.
It plays out. I just can't see where the hell it can go anyway. Do you mean? Well,
But how many people get pestered like this?
And they just say, oh, I can't do hassle.
And they'll pay.
Yeah.
And they'll just pay.
That's it's like with bailiffs. Oh, they just that's scared, and they've got that much of a fear factor to them. Coming knocking on the door, intimidating people. I think best description I heard, it's like a game of poker. They're trying to pretend that they've got 2 aces.
Yeah.
They're trying to go, it's like playing takes hold. They've got 2 aces, you must. And they're actually sat there with like a 2 and a 4. Do you know what I mean? And they've got absolutely bloody nothing.
Because they don't realise you've got 4 aces in your hand.
Yeah, it's 4 aces. That's it.
Or
you've got you've got absolutely nothing to fear with them at all whatsoever. But the problem is, everybody seems to stop an half measure.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll try and buff them, but nobody actually says, right, well, tell you what, you're coming after me, instead of me being defensive and trying to block and defend this, now I'm going to stop, actually, you're going to start paying me for my time. Not just threaten it, just actually do it.
Yeah.
Actually do it. Threaten, somebody take them to High Court.
That's the way
In fact, we could. And that's what you want to do is, as you say, giving these companies big fines, big fees, and just going after people.
You've got to make it personal.
That's what you've got to do. It's like with me. If something happened with British Gas, don't point me trying to go after the director of British Gas and things. You've got to pick the person who's put his name on a letter.
Yeah.
When you can get something on a letter. The woman that's talking to you on the phone. In fact, I love the bit with the Spaniard, the White Rabbit, when he's talking to, is it Marlin? Some debt collection company that's been working for the banks. and he's explained to her that he's going to be taking directors, and then 2/3 way through it where he announces, and you, there's like a silence about 5 seconds. It's like, me? What do you mean, me?
Because you're part of it.
Yeah, well, you're part of it, aren't you? I didn't tell you. Yeah, but it's not to do with me. Back to the, I'm only following orders. It's not my things.
How many people have suffered because of folks following orders?
Yeah, how many people, I say, lost marriages, committed suicide because of pressure with all the intimidation that's going on to them. The like, that woman that's just on phone and that's just doing her job, just doing, how many thousands of people have suffered from depression and suffered from things just by her spouting out all the lies that she spouts out.
Following orders.
Following orders.
You've created a massive, massive governmental service industry, haven't you?
Oh.
With lots and lots of people reliant on the public for their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. There's so many public
falls
servants.
through, then I've not got a living anymore, basically. So it's in effect, a lot of it is fraudulent inducement, isn't it? Because a lot of people get a lot of money to do what they do, and they get a lot of money to keep the dog short. Yeah. And that's all it basically is.
It's like the council's enforcement officers. How can they use word force in a job title for public servant?
Yeah.
You're a public servant, you work for me.
Yeah.
But they're using words in the title, enforcement officers.
Of course, they're corporate again.
Exactly.
I would say corporate enforcement officer. That's about what we believe now.
So if they are corporate, why are we paying the wages? Why are we paying the pensions?
Everything's twisted, arse about face.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems we've got, I say it's not a big problem, but it is waking folks up is a big problem.
Yeah.
But what we have right at this moment in time is the biggest opportunity that mankind ever had to set the world right.
Yeah.
Best opportunity.
Internet's done that.
Yeah.
Well, when it's not been a singularity, innit?
Yes.
Without internet, who'd know who the bloody hell Dean Clifford were?
Yeah.
Who'd know where, Spaniard are? Who'd know? No, you wouldn't.
I'll still be bloody
UK
pissed off all the time.
Yeah. Most people wouldn't. Yeah.
No, it's just been
living in a
frustrated.
bloody dreamland.
Yeah. Wake up.
Once you wake up, those world's just much more richer, isn't it?
It is.
There's never a dull moment. You think, well, what problems you had before when I was...
You've got to ask the simple question, right back to the very why are you here? And you're not incarnated onto this planet to be a slave. It's an abundant, beautiful place that you're here to enjoy. You're not here to...
No. The universe is experiencing
to be in
itself.
purgatory, yeah.
That's all that's happening. It's just experiencing itself. The best way to do it is split yourself off into trillions of different units of consciousness.
Well, I can't do that, though.
No, I can't sleep on the night without switching.
I've not had the ayahuasca yet.
No.
The universe has done it, hasn't it?
Yeah, and everything's connected, so we're all connected. Right.
I can't remember reading that bit about in Bible about God gave us dominion of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. No mentioning that of statutes, were there?
No. We've took it off yet.
Taxes and
You have to be careful when you look at the Bible, though, because if you look at from the Old Testament to the New Testament, you can actually catch yourself out if you're not careful.
Yeah.
You can catch yourself out in the New Testament because it's been mistranslated. Yeah. So you need to be careful where you're going with that. It's one thing claiming your God-given rights, but you don't claim them through the Bible. You can set that to one side.
Yeah.
See, because at the end of the day, that's whoever's written it, whoever's interpreted it, can interpret it their way.
Yeah.
And a lot, like in the New Testament, it's allegorical anyway, so it's open to different interpretations.
No, but again, you can only go on what you've got, haven't you? And
what you've got is
officially,
you've
it's
got
last will and
concept.
testament to God, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what Bible is.
Yeah.
It's last will and testament to God, in effect.
So they say.
So they say. Some say the first page should have said this book is purely fictitious, but you can only go on what you've got.
No.
Yeah, but you take away God's law and inherent law, what you're left with.
You've got to have that concept. If you keep that concept up there, that's your greatest protection.
Yeah.
Whether you think it's a consciousness or whatever, whether it's the guy with the beard up there or the divine consciousness of man, which is how it's
the
where everything's
universe as a
connected.
whole.
At the end of the day, it comes from a higher authority than mankind, and if you have that higher authority, then you've got that protection. Because that's where that initial basic freedom of self-determination comes from, as a right to birth, not from a stinking parliament that only existed from 1260 something.
Yeah.
We got on along fine before we had that. We didn't need it. We got along fine before.
People got along better before all these bloody statutes.
So I said in the other video, for 2 years
You could leave your door open all day.
Yeah. But they're there to divide people, aren't they?
Yeah.
To divide people.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, wherever government gets involved, it always becomes chaotic. They make it worse. Whether it's fighting drugs or education or poverty, wherever they get the fingers on it, we're going to sort this out, it always gets worse.
The more settled the community, the less need for government.
Yeah. Of course it is.
Yeah.
So you have to unsettle the community to use statutes against it.
Divide and conquer.
It's divide and conquer again,
If we all lived in peace, we wouldn't need them.
No.
What they call it, something out of chaos, I can't remember what they call it now.
Oh yeah.
Order out of chaos.
Order out of chaos.
Yeah.
So we create chaos and then we'll bring the order in. And
Yeah.
it's the order we want.
Yeah.
When there was already order there before.
And if there's not chaos, like 9/11, they'll create it,
We'll create it, yeah.
and the chaos creates opportunities. And the opportunities
to get more power.
A lot of money,
Absolute
yeah.
More power,
corrupts,
more money.
absolutely. Or it was that finance, you said absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Neat, ain't it? American finance, it said. Ain't that neat? There you go. In one.
Yeah, that was odd. All these years, Alex Jones never talks about free men on the land or consent of the governed. He had a bloody guy on for 2 hours the other day, that's all they were talking about.
I've not heard him.
Consent, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. And now, he's always on about it. Over the last few days, I've heard him mention it 2 or 3 times, the consent.
It's
of
the only way to
governed.
go.
Yeah.
The only way to go. It's like now you've got all the voting going on now. Oh, register to vote.
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
Bloody hellfire. I'm getting fed up with hearing the adverts like,
Yeah.
register to vote, register to vote.
Yeah.
But if voting ever changed anything, which we know it don't, but if you imagine you want people to register to vote, if you imagine, say it's a general election, if say only 10% turned out, does that mean that they can go and make law for you then? Have they got a mandate? Can they claim a mandate? If they can't claim a mandate to make law, then it can't be law in the first place.
But
Can it?
when was the last time there was a majority? When you think there might only be 50-60% of people vote full well, then you're splitting
About
it
60%, 65%.
65%. So you're probably looking, less than a third of people voting for any one particular party. So
Yeah.
even if Conservatives had a landslide, they're still only going to gain probably 35%, 40% maximum
Of the electorate.
of the electorate.
Yeah, because a lot of them voted.
No.
You're talking like
So
50%
it's still-
of the population.
Yeah. So
Probably voted him in.
yeah, probably that.
I think Labour.
Probably not even that.
When Labour got in 2005, I think they got in, specifically England, with I think about 22% of vote,
Yeah.
something like that. Of the electorate actually voted for him in England.
God.
I'll have to look it up, like, but I know very
So
small.
yeah.
Mainly because for people just aren't bothered, are they?
Yeah. People don't.
They
They're
wanna come on,
wise
watch
enough,
a
they
bit of
don't
telly.
alter anything.
Yeah.
They're wise enough to that. It's just.
But you're not
That's
of
the
a,
thing
you're not
people
of
do
among
now.
choices, are you? Do you mean you're voting? It's like I had a family of 3 brothers that you're voting for.
Yeah, but, well, yeah.
You vote Conservatives, you vote Liberal, you vote Labour.
Am I voting for Reggie or Ronnie?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. It's just
yeah.
making it appear as though you have got a choice.
And that's the same thing in court system as well. You go in and say, well you can if you've got a complaint, go to Judicial Complaints Authority, and that is exactly like saying, well, Reggie Gray says go and complain to
Ronnie.
Yeah.
I may as well be doing that, haven't you? Yeah. Because they're all pissing in the same pot at the end of the day, though.
Yeah.
People just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's not some big rising that can burn buildings down and do.
No.
People just want to be left alone.
Yeah, leave me alone.
It's like we
go out,
councils.
look after the family and do what I want.
Why can't you turn around to local council and say, look, no longer, I don't require your services. Thank you for offer to contract, but I'll turn it down.
I'll bring my own rubbish to tip.
I'll sort my own rubbish out. I'll sort out my own company. What else? Or give you a choice. Give you an itemised bill of account on what you want services you want to use and what you don't. No, because if you get an itemised bill, you've been working out how much is going in profit for the shareholders of the council.
Well, I don't know if they've got shareholders or not. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
I think they have.
Not
Pretty sure that they have.
Because they're
how much is going for
they're not an
pensions?
incorporated, they're an unincorporated, so they don't have to produce accounts. I know the government does that.
Well,
you'd have UKLP.
it's got to be shareholders because is it Lancaster Council? I can remember reading.
Oh, of course,
they're owned by Blues and Twos Credit Union.
Yeah.
Well, Blues and Twos Credit Union's not doing it for any other reasons apart from financial gain.
And they're owned by police.
And they're owned by. How mad is that?
Yeah.
So when you've got a bailiff coming round your ass, escorted by police, chasing you for council tax, they're collecting on behalf of their pension company. Oh, the way they, as you say, Lancaster Council is definitely owned by Blues and Twos Credit Union. Blues and Twos Credit Union is obviously the police pension fund. Yeah, the pension fund. So when a bailiff, obviously, when a policeman comes with a bailiff, Devon and Torquay, I think it is. Somewhere, Devon. So obviously, when a policeman escorts a bailiff, he's not actually a policeman. He's doing something called special duties.
Yeah, it's a corporate.
The 56.
It
Used to be £56 an hour for a PC, 68 for sergeant, 72 for inspector, and then it goes up. So he's actually being paid to escort them. That's why when he goes, he's only got the same powers as what the bailiff's got, same as what you've got. We've all got. It is, as you say, it's just a citizen's arrest.
There's a video.
That's the only.
Been a video of a few months. Danny Allen. He had bailiffs round for a TV licence. He'd gone to court, they'd been sent by court, they brought police with him. These bailiffs did, and he just says, no, I'm not letting you in, don't care what you do. Show me a signed warrant and all this stuff. And police didn't do out, they were just there to observe and be peace officers.
Because that's me when I did that.
Yeah, but that's what. Yeah.
Oh God.
But he can't arrest you because he's not actually a policeman. He's not a policeman because he's not working under his warrant card, because his warrant card is under common law.
Yeah.
That's what he's working. Well, hang on, it's a civil matter, not a criminal matter.
Well, I said that to him. Yeah, the copper lied. I know he lied anyway.
Yeah.
But he says no, it's a criminal.
How can it be criminal?
How can it be a criminal then? And the giveaway at this that he didn't know what we were talking about, or he lied, was the fact that when you get cautioned, you don't get cautioned by the police.
No.
You actually get cautioned by capital representative.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's telling you again that it's not what they're doing. It's a scam.
Yeah.
Complete scam.
And that's all they're doing. They're hiring them.
Yeah.
To,
What did you call them? Guns for hire.
That's what they are. Yeah. Guns for hire. That's all they are. You can turn up because people look. You don't turn around and say, "Look, I'm not working in a public capacity. I'm here in a private capacity."
So that's fraud for a kick-off.
It's fraud for a kick-off because he's not getting full disclosure on what he's doing. Plus the fact, well, hang on, when these policemen are coming escorting them, bearing in mind their wages are paid by us. Is he working in his own private time at the end of his shift? Or is he working in a private capacity at the same time as we're paying him to work in public capacity?
Because what's happening there is we're actually paying him in the public, while at the same time the police authority is taking money in the private.
Yeah.
So, he's getting paid
so he's
twice.
being paid twice, which is fraud.
Same job.
Yeah. You can't be paid twice.
Yeah. And they're counting on people not
knowing.
Not knowing, not checking it out.
And that's the reason why, when you look at some of the videos on YouTube, He's on phone saying, yeah, well, look, I'm happy that they've got a warrant. I believe they've got a warrant. Well, if he were coming to door, he'd have to produce his warrant before he let them in. I had a thing with a bailiff up at my shop about, 9 months or so ago. I said to him, well, let's have a look at your warrant then. Oh, I've not carried one then for 4 or 5 years. So it's this evidence then. I've only got your word that there's a warrant. Well, no, we've not got it. Council's got it. So, how do you know council's got it? Well, they've said they've got it. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll make up some document that I've got if I don't have to show it you. Do you know what I mean? I can make up, I can't remember what example I give him, but yeah, I've got like diplomatic immunity from prosecution for anything regarding council, but I've not actually got form on me and I don't have to show it you. It's evidence. Unless you've got it, you're not coming in. Yeah, he did. He poddled off and
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. He just walked off. I'll be back. That was about 18 months ago. Little fat bald-headed bloke sounding like Arnie.
I'll be back. Yeah.
Did help that I'd got 2 big travelling lads in shot with me at the time. I think that did as much effect as what I'd said. But yeah, it's just crazy. Police, they're there, they're escorting the things. That's why they always just turn around and say, we're only here to make sure there's no breach of peace. Well, hang on, there could be a breach of peace anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
You know, why are you coming here specifically? And they turn him around and it's like, well, I'm important. No, anything that you try and put them on spot, it's no to do with me. And they just walk off with the bike, they don't want to know. But as soon as he says something, no, he does have the right and I'm here to make sure he has that right. Well, who are you? You've got no more authority than him. He worked as a police constable on your oath. I'll just go back to car and just wander off again. Just wander off.
I'll have to get off in a minute. Go to bed.
Yeah.